Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and breathe out your mouth. We're going to do 2 sniffs in the nose and 1 sigh out. Take a deep breath in and just relax.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yeah, really well. Just holiday season, getting through it. Really busy because I'm going on vacation soon. So just trying to get everything squared away before I leave.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is holiday spirit for like what 71% of the world right now. So yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, being a holiday spirit or in a holiday mood, I'm always saying like, yo, especially here in Italy, everyone's, Roman Catholic mostly, so it's like, I'm like, all right, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. But is it appropriate, in your opinion, to assume that people are celebrating this period? Because not everyone does. Like I said, like 71%. The other 29, almost 30%, almost a third of the world doesn't celebrate this period.
Well,
So
see, like for you, you live in a country that's very in a city also that's very homogenous, whereas in Los Angeles it's very heterogeneous, and actually a majority of the population, well, not a majority, but in certain pockets, a majority of the population are Jewish, so they don't even celebrate Christmas. But people still kind of celebrate the spirit of
it's still
Christmas
this
no
period.
matter
It's
what.
still the period. The Hanukkah
Spirit of
period
Christmas.
for them.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
still Hanukkah during
yeah.
the Christmas period also. But they also celebrate the spirit. People still celebrate the spirit of Christmas. But I always just get in the habit of saying Happy Holidays.
Yeah. No, no.
So, but
Yeah,
at
but
the end of the day,
go ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. As you were saying,
No,
no,
I
I was
say at the
asking
end.
you. So, is it stereotypical to assume that a person wants to, hear that Happy Holidays, those Happy Holidays wishes?
Is it stereotypical for me to think
Yeah.
that they like holidays? I guess it's
No,
kind of like
you
me.
would assume.
It's me making
You
an
would assume that
assumption. It's making me
exactly, exactly.
made some assumption, and you make assumptions off of stereotypes, off of
Huh?
prejudgments, off of
Mhm.
that's what our brain does.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, so are you a stereotype? Because
I
You're Afro American. You're Afro American and Asian. So you like fried rice and fried chicken.
I like all of the above. All of the above. I love fried
Okay.
rice, like fried chicken. That's actually what
Yeah.
I.
Well,
That's when I with the Chinese. I got shrimp fried rice with some fried chicken for appetizers.
okay. So so do you
But
think that?
Chinese
Do you
people
think
make
that
fried chicken better than. Don't sleep. The Asian people make fried chicken better than black people
they
do.
do? I'm not gonna say better, but they do make it really, really good. It's really good. It's
Yeah,
really good. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah. So no, no, no. Basically, the point I want to get across was the fact that um, have you ever been, not I want to say victim, but have you ever, yeah, victim actually. Let's say that. Have you ever been victim of African American or Asian American stereotype
Well, I
or
guess
stereotype?
when I was younger, I think I looked a little bit more Asian. Well, I definitely look a lot
Uh,
more Asian. But now I don't think anyone would even know I'm half Asian unless I just explicitly tell them and be like, "Oh, I can see now." So I do
yeah,
get a lot
yeah,
of stereotypes of being a black man in America, and that can be heavy at times. But I don't know. I don't believe in being a victim to anything. You know what I'm saying? And I guess
yeah.
going if you want to go along those stereotypes, I think somebody like me probably have it a lot easier than say somebody that's very dark skinned, that's that looks like a thug, quote unquote thug. Whereas me,
Okay, okay.
I'm a clean cut looking black guy. So people are like, oh, that's a safe black guy. That's a Will Smith type of guy. I'll invite
Okay.
him to my friend's house, to my house. He's a friendly black guy. He speaks so well versus a
Yeah.
black guy that's all like
As
thugged
long as he
out.
keeps his wife, as long as he keeps my wife's name out of his mouth, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Sorry.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Well, so do you think that? So you say that being
Mm.
if you being caramel complexion, paper bag colored like me, do you think that we're less stereotyped, or let's say that we're less victim of stereotyping than other people, like you said, darker guys, who may look more thuggish, or better? Let's say this: do you think that particular groups are more stereotyped than other groups?
Well, and that's without a doubt. I think more, like especially like I think definitely darker skinned black men, definitely get that stereotype, of being like a thug or whatnot. And but it's even beyond that. If you got the tattoos and stuff like that too, that can go. You can be a light skinned black dude with tattoos and
Okay.
tattoos, and it's in the way you dress too. All that plays into the stereotype. But definitely other groups like Middle Eastern people, they're stereotypes. Some people, especially I remember after 9/11, and we live in an area where we grew up in an area that's very Muslim populated and very Middle Eastern populated, and a lot of people was getting racially profiled during that period after 9/11. So yeah, of course, I think blacks and Middle Eastern people and probably Latino people get stereotypes too. You think the Latino people can clean your house, so but maybe not all of them are professional people. So yeah, we all unfortunately we all kind of make stereotypes and racially profile. We make prejudgments, no question about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because as you said before, for those who don't know, we're from the Detroit area, where one of the neighboring cities is Dearborn, which I believe it
Mm.
has the highest concentration or density of Arab Americans in the United States.
It's one
So
of
yeah,
them. Mhm.
exactly. Is one of them. And for a while, for a long time, it was the number one.
Yep.
But my question is for you. Do you think that in that case, then do you think that some stereotypes can be accurate at least?
I think there's always truth to it. Like it's like you ever watch so Dave Chappelle, one of my favorite comedians, and the Dave Chappelle show, which I think was the funniest show ever. What is it called? What kind of comedy you call that? Sketch comedy
I
show ever. Yeah,
sketch comedy, yeah,
yeah.
definitely, definitely.
So he did his thing. So it was this psychic predictor. Her name was Cleo. So he made his own psychic. He made his own character that was based off of Cleo, and he made
I
these
remember that.
predictions. He made all these bold predictions based on stereotypes and racial profiling. And he
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
had this one when this white girl was like on the phone talking about like, oh, my parents don't like my boyfriend. He must be black.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, Mooney. That was that dude Mooney. That was a Mooney. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mooney's
so
crazy with that. Yeah, but okay. So we often find comedy in stereotypes. To be honest, what I'm saying, um, for the most part, when people do, I think, at least in my experience, like you said, I've experienced stereotypes, even if the person was quite ignorant in making that stereotype, saying towards me. But I've never seen any malice behind it, But and we often find comedy in stereotypes, And speaking of Dave Chappelle, I remember also in one of his comedy specials, one of his stand-ups comedy specials, he said that if you don't like fried chicken, there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody likes fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? But I
yeah.
mean, like the thing is like but we associate particular groups, particular people, particular like we said before, it becomes so easy to associate people, off of first sight. So I see this guy. He's not white. He's not black, but he's paper brown, or he's yellow, or he's red, or he's whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And they automatically, like you said before, we all have prejudices. We all have these prejudgments. Um,
Mhm.
but how influential are these prejudices or prejudgments when it comes to how we live our daily lives? Some people, because some people wear that prejudice on their sleeves. I know a lot of people who may think I'm not. I feel black, but what I'm saying, I don't want you to look at me as I'm black, because there's not one particular thing which stipulates what's black, or what's Hispanic, or what's a woman, or what's transsexual, or what's gay, or et cetera, queer, et cetera. But based off of the stereotypes, based off the myths, these so-called myths that are created um, on media, different forms of media, we find ourselves, as the public who aren't in that group, kind of grappling on to those things. Why do you think it's so easy for us to prescribe and subscribe to stereotypes of groups which where we don't belong?
I think that's just is our natural. It's a natural process of formal logic, and probably all animals have this. I can't speak for other animals because I don't know what other animals think and whatnot. But just to create some type of a judgment based on something that doesn't look like you. You-
I'm talking to the Lion King. He's like,
okay.
"Nigga, you don't have the answers, nigga. Don't talk
Exactly.
for us." Oh, yeah, exactly.
No, no,
Okay.
no, 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 for sure, for sure, for sure. No, I'm like, what's going on there? No, but no. So, so like, yeah, so there's like, there's, people make these judgments, based on just like survival. We see something that doesn't look like us, we
Okay.
automatically just like, oh my gosh, that's somebody different. So that
Similar,
person must be
similar
this.
to what we talked about before with
Exactly.
inclusion. Yeah, exactly.
But and I don't think it's not anything wrong with anything, but I just think if you just like kind of like just stay in that place or ruminate in a place of just only prejudgments and racial profiling, you never make true connections with people because you just think a person as a color or a stereotype or a racial profile. And B, you're always gonna limit yourself too, and like and because you're gonna be afraid to really step
Yeah.
outside of your comfort zone because of these prejudgments you make, because based on you think of it as these people that are not like you, they must be attackers or aggressors, and they're there to get you. So I think it's important to recognize. A lot of times we don't recognize that we all have prejudgments and we all have stereotypes and stuff like that, or we all buy into stereotypes and racial. It's okay to. I think we should all acknowledge that first, but then try to just move beyond that and really try to be present and take people on a case by case. To take people case by case. Not try to put them in one big clump, because that's just the easy way out. Yeah.
Okay, so when that the same token, you said it's easy to you want to try to include people, but if
Mhm.
you're also including people with their baggage, that those stereotypes, don't you think it kind of like defeats the purpose of including those people? If you're saying, all right, I want to take you on board, but I want you to bring some of that fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? So is that what is happening? Because couldn't that be seen as a sense of tokenism?
I mean, it can be sense. I understand what you're saying. It can be seen as a sense of tokenism or creating some type of a quota system. But at the end of the day, maybe sometimes the quota and the tokenism system is not a bad thing, because after a while, the more and more you hang around different types of people, you realize more and more we're a lot alike. So,
But okay, and I agree with you with that totally. But in my experience, I found it actually the opposite. I found that when they include you, that's when you kind of find out how much like you said before. Okay,
yeah, true,
we're
true.
bringing them in, we're bringing her in, you know, because we want to be inclusive, but we're finding out how different they are. Um, how do we as individuals kind of transmit, you know, yeah, I am different. You know what I'm saying? We can, me and you, we come from the same house, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we grew up together, but we are very different, you know what I'm saying? How can we explain, because we know, I don't have to explain to you that I'm different. You don't have to explain to me that I'm different because we live together. But how do we explain to people that are from different ideals, different, constructs of what social, how can I say, the social constructs are. um how can we convince, I don't want to say convince, but how can we make people understand and be more comprehensive of the fact that, yes, I know that you have a stereotype about me, and truthfully some of that stereotype is true. I love chicken, I love watermelon, so son, you know
Mm.
but that's not who I am. I'm not the lover of watermelon and chicken, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I'm Rigel, who loves also chicken and watermelon. How can we kind of breach these constructs of, okay, yes, this inclusion, but at the same time, what I'm saying, letting people know that, yeah, we're included but we're different, because I'm not like
Yeah.
us. You're not like us.
No,
We're just
no,
not like
no. They're not like us. For a on a side
Exactly.
note, I'm loving the new Kendrick Lamar. New Kendrick Lamar is off
Yeah,
the chain.
I have been
Have you?
listening to this week. Yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
have. Yeah, I have.
but
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think maybe you and I have somewhat of a different perspective. I think at our core we're very similar, all people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we need to focus more on similarities than dissimilarities. And I think
Okay.
it is natural, like I said, to have prejudices and stereotypes toward people. But I think we should just ultimately just try to include people and just try to
Okay.
listen to people and just try to observe people
Okay.
instead of a lot of times when we have communication with people, we're so consciously trying to impress something upon a person instead of really just trying to listen and observe that person and let them be heard and listen, and seen. That's what a lot of people want to be heard, seen, and listen. That's all. And we get so caught up in like, oh, I got to impress that I'm this type of person. These are I like fried chicken, I like watermelon, but I don't. I'm different. I think we need to focus more on just like listening to people, and holding space for people.
But do you think that some people they try to, like you said before, they they try to put on a particular, not I don't want to say mask, but they want to put on a particular persona to kind of say, okay, you know what, you're included in our group, but you're still subordinate to us. And that's why I'm speaking so properly. I'm
Yeah.
speaking
No,
state, and I'm speaking with the received pronunciation of of London. Right.
for
So,
sure.
do you think that some people do this also to kind of build up their egos?
No, no question. People do that all the time. Yeah, people do it all the
Okay.
time. Yeah, I think that's I think that's it's very natural for people to do that too because in a way, not only it's their ego, but it's also it's fear too. It's like they're trying to say
Okay.
like this is my territory and I'm going to mark my territory even though we're letting you into our territory. I'm
Exactly.
still the master of this territory. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's definitely one of those things. Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
okay. Obviously, one of the things is that like I said, I can't speak for the animal kingdom either. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, when I went to let someone in, I don't want to, or let's say this, idealistically, I don't want that person or that group of people to think that all right, I'm letting you in, but I'm the master of this, or I don't
mm,
look at them as a threat. Why do you think that some people, like you said, that you hit the nail on the head? Some people do say, "Okay, I'm gonna let you in, but you're still a threat to me, though." You know what I'm saying? It's kind of
mhm.
like saying, you can come in with your gun, but I know you might use it on me. And how how does that dynamic work? How does it work that the fact that sometimes we brought in to groups, sometimes we're brought into situations where we're accepted for who we are, but as long as we don't overstep our boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And I want to say,
Mhm.
you're a Negro, but remember that you're a Negro, type of thing. But I kind of see that happening a lot of times. Like for example, we think about the Rat Pack with Sammy Davis, saying Junior,
Mhm.
he was he was the man. He didn't try to overstep anyone. But it was kind of like he knew. You kind of felt he exuded the fact that okay, I'm part of this group, but I know my position. You know what I'm saying? Is that realistic, or is that just another facade? Is that just something that's seems real, seem that it's true inclusion, but it's not really.
I mean, inclusion is kind of is kind of a interesting word, I would say,
Uh,
and it's not so black and white because like when
okay.
you come into another group, there's compromises. It's
Yeah. Okay.
everybody's going to make compromises. Any type of
Okay.
relationship, anytime you embark upon a relationship, you are one person's going to make a compromise, and there's like there's etiquette and there's code and there's
Okay.
unspoken etiquette and code of every social group, and you got to kind of either fit in or you don't fit in, and you'll figure
Okay.
it out. And and it's kind of and it's not even about fitting in and not being who you are, but it's just learning how to harmonize with your
Mm.
environment. And so
Okay.
and that's not necessarily a bad thing, or I think it's actually a
Okay.
great thing to harmonize with your environment. You can still be your authentic self, especially when things really matter, but maybe little things, you don't do it. Like, you like when when you eat around like wealthy people, you don't eat with your hands and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You eat with a fork and knife. That don't mean I'm being less me, But you know,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
you know it's just like you become you're harmonizing with the situation. Mm,
Okay. Yeah, because it kind of
yeah.
reminds me of something that Trevor Noah.
Mm,
I've been a Trevor Noah fan for like what 10 years now.
mm,
I
mm,
put you on some. And
yeah.
the one thing that he said is that okay, yes, we are always our true selves when we can be. Saying even those who are considered their true selves, they're their true selves, but we are also different types of true selves because yes, like you said, I might eat. Saying my lunch with my hands. We gotta realize, damn, all the fork, all the cutlery is dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Or the dishwasher is running. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like waiting. But I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? This is something you wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? In front of other people or people who very very little. So yes, you say that this inclusion might also include that the person who's being included has to also accept the guidelines of that group. But if I'm being invited into a group, why should it be me who's adapting and not them?
what?
That's my question. I see what you're saying. I do
What?
that,
Because
but why should it be me and not them? You understand? If they want me in
I
this
got.
group.
I think you come into their home, you got to do what the Romans do. You know, you're in Rome.
Okay.
Once in Rome, you act like a Roman. I mean, I
Okay.
think that's just common courtesy. I mean, I think you can still
Okay.
be you can find that balance. Some people it's hard for them to find that
Okay.
balance. They totally lose themselves into being Romans instead
Okay.
of being themselves. But I think it's common. But I think the more and more people come into Rome from other countries, Rome start being less Roman and start being more like universal too. And
Okay. I
it's
agree with that. Yes,
yeah, so it's
they do
not
adapt.
it's just like mixing like two different substances in a glass and stuff. Like even though this is a glass full of water, and say you mix something else in it,
Yeah.
of course that other ingredient is going to blend in with the rest of the water. But at the end of the day, the
Exactly.
water is going to be less of water. It's going to be a little bit more of something else. Yeah, so then you
Exactly.
have then
Exactly.
you have kind of have a melting pot.
Exactly. No. 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 I agree with you. I agree with you completely.
Yep.
No. Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
Hmm.
So.
But I want to
So.
say something like
Go ahead.
I want to say something that like I think that a lot of times we do have to be mindful of like our stereotypes and prejudgments that we make. I think we can say it's all laugh and all funny and all jokes and stuff like that. Dave Chappelle, and I think even Dave Chappelle kind of hit that wall too when you realize that what,
Yeah.
maybe it's not always jokey all the time, and it's really just kind of sometimes perpetuating that negativity that goes
Exactly.
on in the world.
Exactly.
Instead of saying like, oh yeah, all black people eat chicken, all white people can't dance, and blase splee, all Asian people would like da 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 da. Instead of just seeing people for who they are, it's people. Some people are good, some people are bad, some people are crappy, and it doesn't matter what color you are. You know.
No. Definitely. 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 No. No. I
Mm,
agree with you completely. Like I said, like you said before, for those who don't know, yeah, he did hit him like a
mm,
melting point. Like I make these jokes not about black people, not about white people, but all people. You know what I'm saying? I crack on everybody. You know what I'm saying? But
mm,
you know what I'm saying? A lot of people start taking it, what I'm saying, the wrong way, not how I intended. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to say, I'm an equal
mm,
opportunity offender. I'm an equal opportunity line stepper. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people say, oh yeah, I know you do that, but I like that part, especially when you talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't talk about me. You know,
mm,
and yeah, but the thing is like how because what I'm gonna say is this. Okay, I'm one of the type of people who's very vocal. I'm very vocal about about race rights. Even though I hate to say that because I think the moment you mention race is the moment you give race a platform or say you give it weight, which I think it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think about race. You know what I'm saying? When you say okay, he's black, he's white. It's like saying, okay, yeah, I don't like bald people, or I discriminate against bald people, or I see a bald person, I automatically think in a particular way, or I see a person with blue eyes and I think in a particular way. No, we don't do that, We do that skin color, even though it's as visible as those other things, But I think that also another thing that happens is sometimes when some people they may make a joke, and I'm like, you might find that funny, but I don't find that funny. It
mm,
kind of I do kind of find those things funny, but I don't want to I don't want to give it away to say I find that funny because that kind of like gives permission, saying to delve further into these these type of comments and ideals. So do you think that we as people, we should say yes, we're different. You might have your ideas, your preconceived notions of us, but that's cool that you have them. I'm here
Mhm.
actually to tell you that some of those things might be true for me, but not for everyone because I'm not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? Or they may be false for me,
Mhm.
but maybe for many other people. Is there something that we should do? Or is there a particular, I'm going to say, mission or job that we should have in order to make it be known that, yeah, bro, that's not me. I see what you're saying, but
Mhm.
that's not me. And I see where you come from, and I can understand that. You know, saying that media and years and generations of 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 socioeconomic difference of film of comedians have pushed this. You know, what I'm saying, but that's not me. You know, what I'm saying, or that
Mhm.
is me, but I don't like that. You know, what I'm saying. I'll give you an example. Um, Here a lot of times people say the Chinese store. You know, what I'm saying. And I
Mhm.
never say the Chinese because they all have names. Okay, sometimes the names are unpronounceable, or no one pays attention to the names because they see the lanterns, the little red lanterns hanging. You know, like, do you mean blah 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 store? They're like, I don't know. It's a Chinese store. I'm like, why would you say Chinese store? You know, I don't say
Mhm.
okay. I went to Tommy Hill. I went to the American store. Which one? Tommy
Mhm.
Hilfiger. You know what I'm saying? I went to the Gucci store, the Italian store. You know, is there a point where we should say, you know what? I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to say that that's inappropriate, but you should really consider when you're saying that it could not necessarily offend someone, but it can create, you know what I'm saying, it can create a structure of 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 a pretense of a group of people, which could later become very how can I say offensive or overburdening. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying. And I actually catch myself a lot of times doing that too, like saying, "Oh, that Chinese person or that black person, that white person." I think it's so ingrained in us to our first description or our first adjective of anything, a person or a store is based on some type of race or some type of
But do we do
ethnicity.
that? Do we do that if it's a white store, if it's a white person?
Well, I guess because
That's the thing.
I
You
guess
know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that
according,
has to be 360. You know what I'm saying? Is it 360 or is it just isolated? You know, to particular
I
groups.
guess
That's what I want to know.
I guess it's according, it's according wherever the majority is in. When you're in the
Okay.
majority's house, I guess it's not as commonplace to say. But we
Okay.
still look at people. I mean, I think no matter what, we still that's like our first thing when we see somebody. I mean, not I'm trying to really condition myself not to be that way. But I know
Uh-huh.
growing up, that's how oh, that white person,
We were
oh, that
taught that way. We were taught that way. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
or that Chinese store. So, it's just
Yeah.
like everything is like that's the first adjective, instead of
Uh,
that. And then even I
yeah, yeah,
also
no, definitely.
try to correct myself with adjectives like that fat person or that old person, that young
Yeah,
person. Just trying to
exactly.
describe people. Try to be more creative with my adjectives than just the race and the age and that.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, this store, that person, that person,
No, no,
has
definitely. Like you said, if you
like
say
a
the
great,
Jamaican
great, great.
restaurant,
That person, John. That person has a great sense of humor. He's always
exactly.
jovial. I'd rather describe him than that than saying, "Oh, the white kid with the red hair."
Yeah,
And
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think if each one of us can consciously start correcting ourselves in that way,
Mhm.
not saying the old way is the bad way, then we'll start
Uh,
looking at people based on their character
oh,
versus the
definitely,
color
definitely, definitely,
versus the color of their
definitely. No,
skin.
no, no.
Yeah, so
I mean,
we.
obviously, like you said before,
Mm,
the color of the
mm,
eyes, hairstyle, skin color. These are things that
yeah.
these are first impact. You can't judge a person's character. You know what I'm saying? On saying just by looking at them. You know what I'm saying? We can't judge some people's character after knowing them, after having known them for saying for years. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said before, I think the fact is when we start to refer to people in differentiational, I mean, in different ways that can differentiate that person, or
Mm,
let's say this, box that person into a particular group. I think that's where it becomes a bit toxic. Not saying that it's dangerous, but I think that it has the potentiality to be toxic. Like, you say, yeah, I got this new girlfriend, she's nice, say she's an artist, blah blah blah. We say that. That's fine. Okay. Obviously, someone says, okay, what does she look like? Yeah, you can go into details there. You know what I'm saying? Just like, for example, if someone says, which type of restaurant do you go to yesterday? I went to a Jamaican restaurant. I went to a Chinese restaurant. Yes, because they serve food which are culturally appropriated to China, Jamaica, etc. But we say, yeah, the Chinese guy, you say the black guy. That means that for you, the way you view that person is based off of that one thing. Just like if I say, yeah, we give people names. If we have names, why should it be that we have to also describe how they are, from an aesthetic point of view? Especially since you and I, we both feel, that we're just basically spiritual creatures. You know what I'm saying? These are just vessels that we're living in now. Whether we're, whether we're black, white, translucent, etc. This is something. This is a period for us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem that comes to mind, in my opinion. What about you? What do you think?
Well, that's a lot you said right there. So let me just unpack it a little bit. I think
Okay.
I think we need to start normalizing, like you say, these other adjectives in the way of
Okay.
describing people and stuff like
Okay.
that. I don't think we should throw away everything, like that's the way we did things in the past. But I think we did those things in the past very based on a very visual thing, because of the fact that when we were hunter gatherers, we would see somebody that come in to our tribe that's totally different. The first thing we have to analyze this person as a threat is by their physical
But
characteristics. And
that
so,
was millennia ago, though. We haven't been,
yeah, but I'm
we haven't
saying,
been those type,
but no
for
matter
like
what,
2,000 years.
no matter what, we still have that ingrained in through
Okay.
through through culture and through our nervous
Okay.
system. It's like our first
Okay.
thing is based on, like, we're gonna describe people based on our optics, our visuals. Over the years, our optics have just been just like our main source of creating decision. And then marketers came into play, and they really played on our optics. And so
Yeah.
everything else is just we're just an optic driven society. But we don't, you
Okay.
know you know we have other senses also, and I think we need to start normalizing using these other
Okay.
senses, so we can start evolving as human beings,
Yeah.
and with our connections
That's,
with other people, and start seeing people more than just the way they look. To see how they talk, how they feel, how do you feel when you're around them. I think those are the most important characteristics and whatnot. And so, like, even though it's been millennial, a lot of time we're still kind of stuck in the caveman mindset and caveman perspective. But I think as we evolve, and I catch myself trying to consciously just, what you say to yourself, the talk that you say not only to others but to yourself, you know, and the words that you say not only to yourself, I mean to others, but to yourself, can really impact on how you perceive the world, and how then eventually how other people start perceiving the world. It's like
definitely.
out.
It is out.